Hello, and welcome back to Season 3 of Rooted in Reaching, where we talk with dreamers, doers, and difference makers, building an innovative future right here in the South Bend Elkhart region. Entrepreneurs know that where we're rooted matters, and where we're reaching matters even more. Today, we're talking to Chad Mastagh, developer of Rides to You, an innovative, reliable, and guaranteed rideshare service started right here in South Bend. Let's dive in. It is my great pleasure to have here in the studio today Chad Mastagh from Rides to You, and he's going to tell us a lot about his entrepreneurial journey, how he got where he is today, and where he's going. No pun intended. Where his trail is leading him in the future here. So, Chad, thanks for being on, and let's start at the beginning of your journey, just to give us some context. Well, okay, let me do this. What is Rides to You?
So we're a reservation-based rideshare company. And thanks for having us today, Marty.
Sure.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
So we're a reservation-based rideshare company that focuses on reservations and safety, high reliability, and guaranteed rides.
Okay. So do you have like a one-liner, like we're the Uber of blah, 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 or you don't do that?
We're everything. I always say we're like a tweener. We're between black car service and traditional rideshare companies. We're kind of in the middle. We're giving you the quality of a black car service with the white glove touch.
Got it. Okay, perfect. That actually helps. That's great. Okay, so that's where you are today. That's what Rides to You is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming there's a long story behind how this company got started, where your passion came from to do this kind of work. So why don't we rewind all the way to tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? How did what's your background leading up to when you were going to start a company?
So I never thought I was going to start a company. So let's just start with that.
Yep.
I've been at the fire department in South Bend for a little over 21 years. I worked at Ryder Truck Rental in the sales and rental office for 23 years. Roughly 8 years ago, as a good parent does, you want to give your kids every opportunity to advance their life you can. My daughters were in college. My son was playing travel baseball in Indianapolis. I needed a way to make more money.
Okay.
And so you're like, how do I do that, right? So a guy working with that Ryder was like, hey, come drive Uber.
Okay.
Like, what is Uber? I had no idea 8 years ago what Uber was. And he just wanted me to come drive because he got a $100 bonus if I did 6 rides.
I see. Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. So I sign up, which is still the same way today. You just get on the app, submit some documentation and consent to a background and boom, you're driving. You quickly learn though, like, hey, there's zero help. I have this app. I don't know what to do with it. What buttons do I hit? Where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
How do I operate it? And so you're out there on your own. And you start learning how to drive. And of course, I'm a very competitive person. So I get out there, I start driving. I'm like, okay, this is not fun. I don't have any help. When I call support, it's somebody reading off a card.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't have any real idea what my question is or my problem is.
Right.
And then as a dad, you're out on the street and, I started driving mainly at night because my kids and family were asleep. And it takes a long bar night here in order to. And I quickly learned that, hey, there's a lot of sketchy drivers and a lot of sketchy cars, that made me feel uncomfortable, let alone I couldn't imagine my daughters at their school.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone's experienced that, right? You're on a dark street, you called an Uber or a Lyft or something, and you're kind of nervous, right? Like,
especially when you know what your daughter's like. It's different when you have boys and girls. It's just scary, another level of scary. So, I wasn't happy with that. And, started driving and I met a bunch of drivers on a local Facebook group at the Speedway up by the campus. And they were giving tips and tricks, on how to basically get the most of your trip from Uber and Lyft.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, hey, go this way, keep your app off, get it, only cherry pick. A lot of drivers in the gig industry will take every ride that comes across their screen.
Yeah.
There's different methods to that, right? Some feel like they have to take everything to be successful. Some cherry pick and only drive at the prime time, and some value their time. Like, hey, to me, it's less rides, more money. It wasn't more rides, more money. It was less rides, more money, less wear and tear, less time. So
you were looking to optimize. Yeah.
And like I said, I'm hyper competitive. So I took these tips and tricks and said, I'm going to test them. And I tested them. I'm like, well, they work.
Okay.
So I started, going certain ways, playing games. Like I always thought it was fun because, if I go a little different route than what's on, they didn't tell you which way you had to go it over. They give you a recommended route.
Sure.
But, when I pull up, I'd be like, oh, Marty, I see you're a 5-star customer. Well, here's the aux cord. Let's see how this goes. If you keep your 5-star rating, just to make a game out of it, right? Now everybody's like, oh, wow, what are you going to play? And I go by take a block difference and it makes a difference in pay.
Yeah.
So, it became popular. Everybody wanted to ride with you. And then it's like, well, what do? A lot of people don't understand when they talk about rideshare.
Yeah.
You can't pick your favorite driver with Uber or Lyft. You ride with somebody, you can never ask for it back. So what happens? A lot of times people say, hey, I really liked you, Marty, my driver. Can I give you $25 to take me back to the airport tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because I like you. I feel like you work for Uber, you got a background, you must have car insurance.
Right.
You seem like a good person. And they want a reliable, safe ride. So they say, Marty, here's $25. And you say, okay. As a driver, I'm like, oh, good, I get all the money.
Right. So you're kind of offline at that point. So independent ride.
So I could call a lot of people rideshare. What people don't understand is, unless I had a commercial policy, you're not covered if we get an accident. So this happens all over the United States all the time because people they want a good driver and they want it now and they don't want to wait. They want the reliability.
Right.
So what if an accident happens? We're both.
So if you picked up a side hustle job like that outside of Uber, that person would be uninsured riding with you.
Unless they get a commercial insurance policy because you're driving for business. So I got the policy. I built up a huge clientele.
Yeah.
I was driving mainly on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, bar night, to the point where, I couldn't keep up with the texts and calls.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, how did you do that? So it must have gotten complicated at some point.
Right. So
you've got all these people who know you and like you and want rides, and you're
ride with the fireman.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And I was just at the time, I was just beating Uber. I was looking at Uber's price, and you can, as a driver, it's another tool you use. You look at the customer interface, and they actually hit the customer first. Seems like before they give the driver more money. So you can watch when it's going to be busy by the customer price.
I see.
So I'd always be watching that. And say, okay, hey, they're charging 33. I'll do it for 32 or $30. I'm like, okay, cool. But I went and had the commercial insurance policy to protect myself. Which was super expensive. But I built up a huge clientele, and I was working Thursday, Friday, Saturdays till 3:30 in the morning. I'm driving till 3:30 in the morning, and getting to bed, getting back up at 5:30 to go to work. But I'm making 50,000 plus as a side hustle.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It just got to the point where more and more parents, when we talk about ideal customer profiles, like who's that? It was more and more parents were reaching out to me and students, and they were saying, "Hey, can you take me to the airport? Can you take me to the doctor? Take me here," because they couldn't get the reliable ride they needed when they wanted it.
How much of that was because of they believed in the relationship they had with you?
Well, I think if they felt safe, first of all, right? Like firemen, policemen, just trusted members of the community. You can tell when you get in a car with somebody. Like, hey, I feel like this person's safe, And a lot of it was they just wanted the guarantee, right? The part of the problem is, and you get into these college towns, non-urban areas, rideshare is already tough. Then you bring in here, 7,000 to 9,000 students. Or Michigan, 50,000. Or Purdue. It really puts a tax on the traditional rideshare system. So the prices surge. There's no guaranteed ride.
Makes sense.
If I book a reservation with Uber or Lyft, there is zero guarantee they're going to show up. There's a whole other game they play we can talk about later on the driver's side of that.
Okay.
So
interesting.
More and more parents started asking me for rides, and kids were asking for rides, and I'm like, I can't keep this up. COVID came and went. I stayed busy. And I was like spending all my time giving rides to my friends. I'd be like, hey, Marty, can you come drive for me? I'm busy and I got all these rides. Because parents are like, if you can't do it, who do you know that can?
Oh, okay. So how did that work, though, with the insurance?
So they didn't have, that's the problem, right?
I see.
Putting my name on the line for
right.
And that didn't, wasn't going to fly.
Got it.
And
you're doing all of this just via text messages at this point? Like managing all these relationships? Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And so I had a student say, you should really take this to the idea center. And then I didn't know what the idea is.
Yeah.
So I get on the internet, look up the idea center, leave some messages, finally get a hold of somebody. And actually, it's Patty Reinhardt. And props to her. And so I get in there in a meeting, and she's like, hey, we have this pitch competition coming up. And I'm like, pitch competition? And she's like, yeah, pitch competition. Like, so we're playing baseball? Like, I have zero idea. We talk about pitching, I'm talking playing baseball. No idea what
is this?
I always say, and Ryan would give you a hard time. I say, I'm a dumb fireman. I put wet stuff on the red stuff. I know how to make money and be successful. Like, you get into the higher level stuff. It's a learning curve. So we went to the idea center and got into the pitch competition in 2021. We won the best community award.
Nice.
And that's where I met Ryan Krieger, our co-founder and CTO now. Met Ryan Hernandez, one of my advisors, and Jack Rotello, another advisor. And really just didn't know anything about business, other than I had this idea of how do I make this better for me and get the right insurance for my friends and make a platform that we can get rides on.
Right. Makes sense. So you walked in there knowing that you needed something, and did you have a rough idea of like what you needed to keep doing the work that you were loving doing?
I knew what Uber and Lyft had, and I knew all the things I hated as a driver and all the things I hated as a passenger.
Got it.
And I'm like, how do we bring the things that I hate? And I'm not just the only one, right? You can go to these groups and say, you can go right now, driver discontents at an all-time high across the country. You can go anywhere and say, hey, like, what are the same things you get there? Like, you don't show me where I'm going. You don't show me what I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
Unless you accept every ride, have these weird rules to follow. So I was like, how do I get the things I hate and bring them together that make it for my customers easier for them?
Yeah.
I'm not having to collect Venmo, and they're having a good experience as well.
How were you collecting payment before?
Venmo.
You were using Venmo. Okay, so you wanted
taxes, by the way, when you report it to taxes, which I did, it does hurt.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, right? Because then it's all coming to you pre-tax, right? So then you owe a big bill at the end of the year. So you wanted a system that would allow payment through
payment and booking, and scheduling, right? Like I'm managing 10 drivers' schedules, and I'm the one that's kind of like, hey, it just became a lot,
Yeah. So what happened? You went into Patty introduced you to somebody, and you went in there, and you're this fireman who walks in the door of the Idea Center and says,
right,
I want to invent an app.
We got in there, and I just, there was another student at the time that was interested, and we partnered up with McCloskey.
Yeah.
Like I said, we won the Best Community Award. We got out of there, and I still remember one of my first conversations with Ryan Krieger, and probably going to kill me for saying this, but we get in there, and I'm like, I knew that first 5 minutes that I wanted this guy to work for me.
Okay.
I'm like, I told him, I said, dude,
that's fantastic.
I need you to come work for me.
Yeah.
You can't afford me.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I still tease him about that today.
Yeah.
You can't afford me.
And the reason that's funny is because
now he's working full time.
Now he's working full time for you.
So, I knew just the way he talked about things, and like he had been successful in features in earlier startups, and had exited them, and been where I wanted to be. It's the same thing at the same time. The guy who owns the Royal Excursion, Shannon Kaiser. I reached out to him. I worked with his cousin at the fire department, and I asked him to mentor me. I'm like, hey, you started from nothing and got to where you are today. That's what I want to do.
Right.
So, I reached out to
That's the journey you're on. Yeah.
And so when I met with him the very first time at Works, I don't think it was Works, then it was something different, but
it was something. It was. Yeah. Yep.
So and I was like, dude, like, here's my plan. And, I just remember he was probably like, whatever. But, I'm like, hey man, I remember how you started in that van with water bottles, and I want to get there.
Yeah.
So, so I met Ryan, and they said, okay, you got a concept, but is this just work at Notre Dame only? Because it's, a lot of, what's the word I want to use, affluent or higher income students.
Right.
Is this just a fluke, or is this a problem bigger than Notre Dame?
Yeah.
So we put together Google Sheets, or a couple of my friends were starting to track all of our rides, like, hey,
okay,
what kind of business are we doing? Where are we going? How many students? Time of day?
Okay.
It was just a quick little Google form.
Yeah. So I suppose before this, you were doing this kind of not off the books, but you weren't tracking the data, right? Because you didn't have an app that was tracking the data for you. So it was all kind of ad hoc until you put it together.
Started a little Google Sheet. And,
yeah.
Next thing you know, like a year later, it was like $500,000 between all these people, like, holy moly, that's a lot of rides.
Yeah, that's a lot of rides.
And so that was where it was like, okay, I think that's where it got the attention of the Idea Center a little more, where we started to, hey, how do we get money in the door to actually get this going?
When you won the community prize, there was some cash involved with that. What did you do with that money?
Basically use that money to kind of formulate the concept a little further. Like, hey, if we're going to put an app in place, I can't remember the exact word you used today, but when you're trying to, all the stuff you need in the app, put it all, laying it out and saying, hey, how do we get from point A to point B with this, and develop something? Yeah. Get an MVP out the door.
Yeah. And what was that like for you? Because I'm sure that was like outside of your traditional wheelhouse.
Yeah. I mean, I no idea about app development time. I'm not a lot. I know a lot, but I don't know a lot. Like, I can't code for sure.
Yeah.
So, I went to an entrepreneurship meeting, and I met a girl from Notre Dame, and that did coding.
Okay.
So I met an entrepreneurship thing.
Okay. This was on campus?
No, this was actually one of the events down at Hibbard.
Okay, one of the startup happy hours.
Yeah.
So which we still do, which I still do.
Yeah. I was at a startup happy hour, and I ran into a lady there named Ellen Joyce.
Okay, fantastic. That is what we want to have happen at those events. So that's great.
We were just talking about what I'm doing, and I said, hey, I got this rideshare app I want to create, and we're talking about using Bubble. And the only reason I was talking about using Bubble is because Ryan had mentioned, hey, we should look at Bubble. It's a low code, no code.
Yep.
She goes, well, I'm a Bubble expert.
Oh, you were like, well.
Yeah, and I showed her that when we spent the money before on how to figure this out.
Yeah.
One thing led to another, and she developed her MVP.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. We still use Bubble today, by the way.
Yeah. So was that a game changer, having the app?
So I found her, And it was like, okay, we're going to pay you some money. And we had no money. So I was like, how do we get money?
Right.
You know, I had been talking to a lot of parents like that I gave a lot of rides to that I knew I had money.
Yep.
And, you know, they seemed interested, but you hear as you raise money, and I'm sure you hear a lot of times, oh, yeah, I'm in. And
yes.
Okay, when
the
it comes
follow through
on the paper,
yeah.
It's a different story. So, you know, we were trying to raise money, had none. And at the time, the Idea Center they had like a grant, or not a grant, but it's money, $24,000 warrant, they called it.
Okay. This is the Pit Road Fund, I think, or was it a different one?
It's just the Idea Center thing.
Okay.
So, you know, we came to terms to get that $24,000, and there was some, you know, additional money that could come on from the Bridge Fund.
Okay. Great.
And they said, hey, but we need to see some progress, right? Can you actually get people to book on the app, or are they so used to texting you that?
Right. A little bit of a transition period there. Like, will it stick?
So we got the $24,000. We said, hey, look, we're going to give Ellen X amount to develop an MVP. And then you don't just call State Farm and find rideshare insurance for a company. That was one of the major hurdles, was how did we get rideshare insurance? You know? And it took probably 4 or 5 months to actually get the right place and the right connections out in LA to actually get rideshare.
Okay. And because at this time you had multiple cars, multiple drivers.
No, everybody was on their own. Again, like
everybody was on their own.
Most of my drivers had commercial insurance. Some didn't.
Okay.
You know, but it was like, hey, look, I encourage everybody, because again, it was just me, and I'd say, hey, I'm busy. Marty, you want?
Right.
Marty's available if you want to connect them with Marty and work at your yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
But we want to bring it all together. You know?
Sure.
So we had the $24,000 committed to us, and that day, Ryan and I remember distinctly at the Idea Center, got on the phone with 3 Barretts, raised $110,000 that day in a half hour. Like, boom, hey, Notre Dame invested.
Yeah. So was that was like the turning point, critical piece there. Notre Dame was willing to put some money in, and that helped loosen up those. Loosen up cold feet. That's a mixed metaphor there, but so it gave them the confidence that this was a safe place to put their money, or a worthy investment. Yeah.
See, that's one thing you still got to like today is you got to be able to convince people to say, hey, why would I take my money out of a savings account where I'm guaranteed money to give it to you where I could lose it all?
Yeah. Although there are plenty of folks out there with money who want to diversify what they're doing with it. And
once we had Notre Dame, that money, that 110 came in the day, you know, committed. So we were able to pay for the insurance. You know, again, we're paying still about $100,000 a year.
Yeah. Did you go home that day and crack open a beer and say, like, what the heck?
To be honest, I don't remember that.
$110,000 like that.
I think it's like a lot, but money goes so fast.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean,
but that money was all accounted for. That was basically, hey, look, if we can get the app up and running by February 1 of 23, you know, like, we just got enough insurance. That's not enough to go.
Right.
So, you know,
it was just to get you to the next benchmark, basically. Right. Yeah.
When Ellen developed a beautiful app of MVP on Bubble, you know, and I still remember this. The cool story about that is I was sitting in my car, Trader Joe's, February 1st.
Okay.
23, and there's like 3 of my friends in the car.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there in the Highlander, and I got my laptop on my lap, hotspotting, and kids start texting. I've been promoting on my own Instagram at the time, like, hey, I'm going to use this app.
Okay.
Here's this instructions to make a shortcut.
So the app had gone live at this point, or it was a web-based app. Okay. But it was in prototype phase, but it was usable at the okay.
So we're like, hey, download the app real quick and come get you. You know, I'm having to set the price for on-demand ride to the bar and manipulate the price to be competitive with Uber.
Right.
And then I remember, like, the first ride comes in, boom, you know, like the driver's phone's all ding in the car. And that was just cool, right? Wow, it worked. And then, you know,
so the other guys in the car were also drivers.
Yeah,
they were ready. They were
for that first ride. So boom, you know, they take the ride, and
that's beautiful.
I'm looking at Bubble on the back end, and it's not pretty. You know, it's like driver's on the way.
Yeah,
driver's here.
Yeah,
driver ongoing. Like, I know, okay, they're on the way to the destination, and then it's like, okay, they're done. I'm like, okay, we did our first ride. You know.
Okay.
So that was fun. You never forget that time.
I bet. Well, that's a big benchmark, right? A milestone there, like that first ride on the new app, right? Yeah.
So then we did that for a little bit, and Notre Dame had told us, hey, look, if you can get some money and start showing progress there, there's more money potentially. In the meantime, Ellen and I went and pitched Elevate.
Okay.
Go down to Fort Wayne.
Yep.
You know, we got rejected once before. It was me, and she's a great pitcher.
Okay.
And we went there and pitched, and we won the $80,000.
Yeah.
The money there.
Did they take any equity?
No, it was convertible note.
Convertible note. Okay.
So we raised the $80,000 there, and then kept. You know, I think it was maybe March or April. We had done, I don't know, like $50,000 on this app.
Okay.
Of rides, and Notre Dame came back through the Bridge Fund and put $100,000 additional.
Got it.
So that first year went up with like $314.
Yeah. Okay. Between Elevate, Notre Dame, and the private investment. Yeah.
So, then we're off and running, and it was like, okay, how do we make this better, right?
Yeah.
The goal was to eventually get to Apple and Android, like have actual app.
Got it. So I was curious about your customers. Like, obviously you were catering to college students, right? Notre Dame students, folks, and you built relationships over time with students and their parents, which is interesting. I'm wondering if, like, at this point, did you start thinking, were you thinking bigger at this point? Like, we need to expand to Purdue, or were you thinking of other customer segments that would benefit from this kind of in-between service?
Right. I knew the parents had wanted me and the kids to take the reservation rides, which fit better into my life, right? Like, it's hard to run nights, but I still at that time thought we were going to be a big on-demand service like Uber and Lyft. We were going to offer this safer, more reliable late-night ride with the reservation piece as well.
Right.
So, we developed the app in a manner that catered to our parents and catered to our customers, because I knew that mom is like 95% of our rides are ordered by mom. Just in today's world, a lot of parents still help, with their students' education, which is great. And, sometimes little Johnny or little Susie aren't the best at booking a ride to the airport at 4 a.m.
So mom's thinking ahead. Don't miss your flight. I want you home for Thanksgiving.
Right. I mean, the kids are thinking about school and everything else, and parents are helping, organize these things. So we built the app in that manner. Like, we created it where mom or dad can build a ride for their kid. They both see it on their apps.
Yeah.
And then the kids still have the privacy to go, hey, I'm going to go to the bar, or I want to do this, and they order their own rides.
Okay. Can the parents see that?
They don't see their rides unless they order it for them.
I see.
But they obviously, most of them pay the credit card bills. So
right.
I mean,
so those rides to Corby show up.
They just show them as charged to rides deep, just like it would show for Uber, but I didn't show you where they went.
Yeah.
So that was when we started, and it was like, okay, well, I didn't think about Purdue. I didn't think about any of that at the time. I'm trying to remember how I actually came up with Purdue, to be honest with you. It's just the next closest, Indiana.
Yeah. Big college, similar.
Well, you have to get permitted in the state to have a rideshare permit. And then it's like, okay, where can I go that is close that I can find my way in? Right?
Yeah.
We'd raised that first money, and it's like, okay, well, you see the runway narrowing.
Yeah.
It's sort of, you have to learn.
A lot of new language, right?
Yeah. Like runway, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So, and
pitches, runways.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ICPs. I can go off for And we get there, and I'm like, okay, where are we going to need more money?
Sure. Was that the thing? Like, Purdue is my next target. Like, you felt like you were doing, I don't know if saturation's the right word, but you were doing good business.
I just knew that. I started thinking about, like, why does Notre Dame work, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have a local airport, which is great, but it's a lot of cancellations. But again, we're a long way from O'Hare, which is in Midway, where a lot of kids fly. Right. And if you look at Purdue, like 78 miles away.
Yeah.
To 90 to Indianapolis or Chicago.
Right.
So I was like, well, it fits the demographic, right? Like, so, like, still today, we focus on college communities that are 50 miles or 200 miles from a major airport.
I see.
Like, we got some that aren't, but that's like the idea, right?
Yeah.
It's far away. Again, rideshare is not prevalent here.
Right.
And then influx of kids or football weekends, it really taxes it out. So that's how we got to Purdue.
It seems like so much of what you did was based on personal relationship and trust, at least at the beginning, right? That's how, like, the parents calling you and saying, hey, book a ride with Chad. Like, we trust him. We know who he is, or his friend. Was that hard to translate to a different community where you don't live?
Right. So I didn't know anybody. I got in, like I said, there's driver Facebook groups across the United States. So I got into the Purdue one, and you have to reach out to the moderator and say,
I see. Yeah.
Are you? Of course, everybody thinks this is a scam, and it's like painting the picture like, look, I'm another driver.
Yeah.
I've been through the pains. I'm just trying to provide something better, Right, of course, there's always a skepticism, like, how are you really going to do it?
Yeah.
Do you have insurance? How are you going to pay me?
Yeah. But at least at that point, you had a model that was already working, right?
I was able to share.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'll be happy to connect you with any of our drivers that you can talk to without me.
Right.
And so we reached out to Purdue. I got there. I said, look, I'm happy to come down, put on a dinner for everybody. Just hear my story.
Yep.
That's all I want to do is share my story with you guys. And so that's what I did. And that day, I think we had like 8 or 10 drivers at Purdue say, like, I'm in. There's other startups, not even startups, they're actual full-blown rideshare companies. One that was down in Miami just closed. They're prevalent overseas, but we're trying to model on there. And you got to get the right drivers that understand it takes time.
Yeah.
Because you're building a two-sided marketplace. It's very hard to do.
Tell me about that. What does that mean, a two-sided marketplace?
Well, I got to get drivers and I got to get customers. So if I go get all the customers, which is what a lot of drivers were, down in Miami, they're talking, well, you got to get the riders first. Well, that's not how it works. Because if I get you as a rider and you order a ride, nobody shows up.
And you don't have a driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're working both sides concurrently, really, right?
You gotta have the drivers first, right? And it's getting the right drivers. Like we don't take every driver. We talked about earlier how you can just sign up on the app for Uber, Lyft, and you're approved by the time this podcast.
I was wondering about that, and that was a follow-up question I was going to have for you. Is like, how do you quality control as you grow?
So from the beginning, again, it's always about, would I put my daughters in your car?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? So as we got there, like we said, hey, we do it here. It's like, okay, that's not good enough, right? We want the best. Everybody's had good Ubers, bad Ubers, moderate okayers, right?
Right.
Try not to hop all over. What's the magic of Uber?
You're asking me that? Oh. I mean, the magic of it is that you can snap your fingers and pick up your phone and someone will come and get you. Yes. And that is a beautiful thing. And you can exactly.
What does it take to do that? It takes thousands and thousands of drivers.
Yes.
So you take anybody and everybody and you're just a number.
Yeah.
And there's very little retention because of that.
Yeah.
So you're just a number. You have to have thousands of drivers. Well, that's like, what does that lead to? Every now and then you have a great ride. Most of the time it's just, okay, I got there. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, how are they driving?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. We've all had that. We've all had that experience.
The magic to us is we don't have to have that many drivers. It changes the dynamics for us because of reservations. We know and can predict the busy time in these college towns.
Yeah.
So we know when it's busy. We know and even for the community, when they need rides to the airport, they can book in advance. We know when people need rides. So we, though, however, want high quality drivers, right? We want great people, pastors, policemen, firemen, mothers that are, just good people that you would be trusted in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So we say, hey, look, every driver comes in for an interview.
Okay.
It gives us a chance to explain what we're doing.
Yeah.
And say, hey, look, we're building a two-sided marketplace. It's going to take some time, but I need driver supply before I get the customer supply.
Yeah.
So if you just be patient, it doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
One of our first people.
Well, I imagine, are they still allowed to drive for Uber during this time, right? Like, so.
And if you know any good gig worker is Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates.
They're doing it all.
They're picking the best thing if they're full-time.
Yeah.
Right? They're scanning all those things, which is why they like us, because they know they're getting the guarantee.
Yeah.
They're getting treated right. They're getting paid fairly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we call the drivers that are interested. Every driver comes in for interview.
Okay.
And then we say, okay, we explain our side, how we're paying, how everything works. And then we say, okay, let's go walk around your car. Right?
Okay.
Because we've all had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this reeks like cigarettes. Or this is not very, why is the bumper taped up and hanging on?
Yeah.
And then we also ask our drivers to all turn in a 50-point mechanical inspection, because sometimes our pricing is a little higher than Uber or Lyft.
Okay.
But it's less than a private car service. But, we want to say, hey, look, we're doing additional layers of vetting. We're making sure they're great people.
Yeah.
They have a clean car and it's safe and reliable.
Yeah.
So those are the differentiators that we also add to every driver.
How do you communicate that to your customers?
It's basically, it's on, if you go into our website, it's listed there, but we also tell people, it's usually it's word of mouth. We have high virality. So it's usually just those first early adopters that spread the word.
Right. Yeah.
Another early adopters.
They're another term, right? Lots of good terms
point
here.
Those out today, every term.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense, right? Especially since the relationship is based on trust, and so once one student uses it,
right?
Hey, mom, I use this great service, and I can imagine how
moms, because there's Facebook groups at every college.
Yeah,
class of 26, 27, 28.
Yeah,
and family pages, and they share. Like everybody's always asking.
Yeah,
how do I get a ride here or there? And I use this place. Some of those are people who don't have insurance.
Yeah,
that they're recommending. So so that's just when you see those things. It's
how do I can see how you were here, but like when you went to Purdue again, like how did you handle marketing? So were you on? Did you get into those Facebook groups, or were you? Right. Was it just word of how did you instigate that word of mouth to start building up your client?
So we went to Purdue. We got the few drivers started online. Yeah. Had no work.
Yeah.
At all. We're just zero work, and it's like, okay, where do I? Still to date, we've only spent about $1,000 of ad spend.
No kidding. Yeah.
Period. But we are on some of those Facebook pages, and you're posting, you're watching them, and hey, we're available. What a lot of it is drivers are so dissatisfied with rides. They're doing Uber, they're doing Lyft. And instead of saying, hey, come ride with me, which usually students or parents are always asking. Mm-hmm. They know, especially on a football weekend, it's hard to get a ride.
Right.
Or on a bar night, it's hard to get a ride. Hey, are you doing rides? Can you pick me up later?
Yeah.
They're giving out our card.
Got it.
And say, hey, book me on rides to you.
Yeah.
You can ask me on rides to you. I'll be out doing rides to you. So just that word of mouth, somehow we ended up in Purdue and became a vendor at Purdue. And in 2024, we ended up getting connected with the Purdue Grad Student Union.
Huh?
Did about $100,000 worth of rides, taking students from campus to their off-campus apartments on a pilot program. They're doing something a little different now, but we'll get to that later. Remind me.
Okay, so that was an actual partnership with the student union.
Yeah,
got it.
And then it just more parents started talking about it on Facebook. Some of the students we were doing, and then we don't do a ton. I call it we're still kind of like a beta phase at Purdue, and then the same thing at IU and Ole Miss. We're kind of just getting.
Are those your next 2 campuses? IU and Ole Miss.
We're already at IU. Ole Miss and Purdue about close to equal right now with the rides we do. We're actually launching Ann Arbor here with a different model.
Go Blue.
Same model, but just how we're bringing the business.
Yeah. Tell me about your team right now. Like, it was you, and then you recruited friends to start driving for you. At some point, you're interviewing drivers, right?
Right. So I'm doing all the interviews. And
you're still hands-on when it comes to that?
Right now, not as much. I still recruit drivers. I'll ride around like an undercover boss in an Uber.
Nice, nice.
Because they don't know.
They
don't know you from anybody, and it's a good way to get a true see of the car and the person.
Well, it is good, and actually that does remind me, like one of the more frustrating experiences I've had with Uber is when the Uber driver complains about how much they hate Uber. Which has happened several times, right? So I guess since you're taking better care of your drivers and you're curating the experience a little bit better, your drivers are probably not complaining to their customers about how much they hate rides to you. They're probably talking about how good it is, right?
So, I mean, that was the thing. We got to Purdue, I met them, and I came across a girl there named Brandy.
Okay.
Who just had a really good logistical mind for booking rides and doing these things. So I got her to come on board and kind of be my customer service coordinator down there. I can't be at Purdue every day.
Right.
But she could do the interviews. She could manage the rides. And at the time, we were doing a lot of rides for Purdue. And it still, at that time, was a heavy lift on the back end, like assigning all these rides.
Yeah.
So, and we had to build them. Like, because they were just sending this list.
No kidding.
Like putting in 20 rides a day, like, okay.
So has the app been able to scale up in that way?
Yeah. So we still use Bubble on the back end. We're actually finishing up a new back end server right now, a new service dashboard that we can use. So I don't know, a lot of companies, another piece of what we're doing, use what's called Uber Central, where your business can sign up with Uber directly, pay for rides for your client.
Okay.
We've talked to several car dealerships about this, and they're interested in that, and hotels.
That makes sense.
The issue, like, again, if you're a car dealership and some pick up a driver comes to get you, A, what are they going to show up in?
Yeah.
And B, they've heard from like, hey, look, they were talking bad about our dealership to our client. And then, they're not
great.
Indiana Uber drivers can't pick up in Michigan.
Oh, is that right?
In Michigan. We do the inspections.
Okay.
So we can pick up in Michigan.
So you can pick up in Michigan and bring down in Notre Dame or vice versa. Yeah.
There's one high-end car dealership in town here who's the only car dealership in 100 miles.
Okay.
And like, we have people live in Michigan. They bring in the $100,000 car for service and we can't get them back because most of them got rid of their shuttle drivers during COVID.
Yeah, I see. So you can fill that void.
So we built
for a dealership. Okay.
We kind of like Uber Central, call Ride Central, where, hey, you can, they can build a ride for their customer, and then we text them and say, hey, we're your driver. Or they can, if it's a customer that, like, for example, we do a lot of work with different departments at Notre Dame.
Okay.
We just actually met with 16 or 17 different ones last week that start using us on top of a dozen we're already doing work with.
Yeah.
And, we went to them and said, hey, how can we make this better for you? Because they found that students that were giving them Uber or Lyft gift cards still couldn't get to their internship.
I got it.
On time.
Right.
So we started working with some of them early on, and we built this dashboard also where they can send a code now. They can just text you a code and they pay for the whole bill, and you put in your app.
I see. Nice.
So we're scaling. We went to kind of go back to the app. We raised that original 314.
Yep.
Kind of got started at Purdue.
Yep.
Need more money.
Yep.
Let's raise another 300,000, right? So we can get Purdue up and running.
So you did that?
This was in 24 or late 23, early 24. Trying to raise money, which is, in the economy, which still is getting better, but it's still a tough time to raise money.
Yeah, it is.
So one of my original investors doubled down. I think two of them did, but it still wasn't enough money. I'm watching the runway dwindle.
Yeah.
And, when you bootstrap your company, another term, right?
Yep, another term.
And so, you bootstrap and, you drain your own savings. Like, you're putting your life in this, right? Like, hey, I didn't think we'd be here. And now here I am, like, this is what the Lord gave me. And I'm going to try to, the best of Father's will. So we're raising money slowly.
Yeah.
And we're running out. And of course, every time you go to the bank or want to get a loan, it's like, I need a personal guarantee. And it's like, look, I'm not putting my house on the line.
Right.
I believe in what I'm doing, but I got to be realistic. How many, what percentage of startups fail,
Yeah.
So, I've made many mistakes in my life, and I ask for forgiveness every day, right? I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. I've learned from my mistakes.
Sure.
And, I'm like, I woke up one morning, like, stressed out, right? Like, how am I going to do this? But I've been praying. And I woke up and God said, hey, look, talk to your wife. cash out your rider retirement. You don't even remember they're there. Okay. I didn't remember there. I bought the stocks. And I had all this 401k. I didn't remember. So I talked to my wife and I wanted to be obedient to God and cash out. And put some money back in my savings account that I drained, and I put $30,000 in the company to get us through the summer.
Okay.
We scale way back, right? I'm like, hey, look, we got to scale way down. And Lauren here, who've been with us from the beginning and kind of run our South Bend operations with me. So I turn it all in, give the $30,000 to the company. And, it's the craziest part ever. Like the next day we give it, some customers had my personal number, the VIP, and some have. Where I get texts from this guy he was coming for a wedding. And I knew he was associated with a wealthy individual.
Okay.
Maybe he might even be considered ultra high net worth,
Okay.
I didn't know this at the time though.
Okay.
We just gave him rides and I
asked
everybody, you always be closing, right? ABCs.
Okay.
And every person I know that I have an opportunity, I'm like, hey, do you know anybody that might want to invest?
Right.
If not, if you know it, please share the word. The other thing I learned early on in life was follow-up, right? Money's in the follow-up.
Critical.
I learned that back when I was 14 years old, I was mowing grass with my dad. Hustling, trying to get money to do these things, to buy my cars and do all those things. But always be closing. So I'm like, man, and I'll hound you until you tell me.
So you mentioned it to this guy.
Oh, I met a lot of times. Like I will text. I have alarms set on my phone. My wife and friends make fun of me because I have 1,000 alarms on my phone every day. That's my to-do list.
Yeah.
And I keep texting this guy. I'm like, man, I don't want to bug you. If you're not interested, just tell me no.
Right. Just give me the no.
And because you hear a lot of no's. You gotta be prepared.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. You hear more no's than less. A lot more no's than yeses.
Finally, he's like, you know what? Let's get on a call tomorrow too.
Okay.
So okay, and me and Ryan get on, and Ryan again was my first advisors, and we get on the call with this guy. And like I said, I try to be a man of faith. I could be better, and Ryan's like an angel compared to me. So we get on this call with these guys, and this guy has his assistant on. Yeah. And first thing Ryan says is, Ryan's usually right on time, he's early and I'm late.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, is that Daniel in the lion's den behind you?
Okay.
And they just hit off this huge Christian talk for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then in 30-minute call went 2 hours. And at the end, I hear Chuck saying, well, when we do this, he's already seen him.
He's using the word we. Okay.
Which is a win,
You were probably thinking, this is a good sign.
Still, you hear we, and this doesn't always train.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, all right, let me get back to you. And in the meantime, another investor invested $25,000.
Okay.
And stuff. Okay, we got a little bit more breathing room. And then he comes back and says, we'll do 195.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, sweet. And then
you're like, my runway just got a lot longer all of a sudden.
Investors I was, kind of going back and forth with, and then you call them and say, look, I already got the money. I don't really, if you tell people you don't need their money, sometimes they just want to give it to you.
Oh, interesting. Reverse psychology tactic.
It's like, hey, look, I got it.
Yeah.
I'll oversubscribe if you want.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need it. Like, I'm closing this up. And
no,
I'm in. Okay. So like I say, the Lord opens so many doors, like, for being obedient for that, it's just the craziest part. And then that got us into now when, we were getting low, and now we just say, hey, we've been trying to raise. Yeah. But, again, you're putting a lot of money in app development.
Right. So the door kind of opened wide up again.
Yeah. Then it's summer's coming. And it's like, okay, we got to get there. But now we're getting closer and closer to profitability.
That's fantastic. So let me bring you back a little minute, because you mentioned mowing grass with your dad and hustling out there, the follow-up piece. And I think you also said early on in this conversation, you never really saw yourself as a businessman. When you look back at yourself, when you look back at your 15-year-old Chad, like, what do you think? Like, what would you tell him today about, like, this journey that you've been on?
Bet on yourself, man.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself, because, you can't depend on anybody else to bet on you. Like, you got to bet on yourself. And
do you think you wouldn't have done that at 15?
I mean, I mowed grass because I don't even know how I got started. Like, I think I started at 14. Yeah. And then, I was doing like 7 to 10 lawns. My dad would drive me around. Yeah. Because I had to save up for my first car. Yeah. Like, I was told, hey.
That was motivation, right? Yeah.
You got to buy it. And if you want to drive, you got to pay your insurance. Yeah. My sister got off kind of easy. That was my road, right? Yeah. Like, it is what it is. I had to save up to buy a car. My dad helped me fix it up. And then I sold it and bought another one and fixed it up and sold it. Okay. And then I was mowing, and then I started working for a local lawn company in the summers between high school.
It sounds pretty entrepreneurial.
I didn't think of it then, but it's just, Ryan will tell you, I got all kinds of grit, and that's what, makes a difference. Yeah. Like, I'm always trying to be like the grass. I'm a glasses half empty guy, as much as I try to be thoughtful and thankful to God, sometimes it's hard, like, it's my motivation. Like, I don't always want to say, "Oh, we did it," like because it's like there's still so much more to do.
There's more to do. Yeah, well, continuous improvement, right? Like it's hard to rest on your laurels when you're building a company, and
it's
like yeah, and you've got people you're taking care of too, right? Customers and also drivers. I imagine you feel some sense of responsibility towards
drivers are the face of the company, right?
Yeah,
like I can't do every ride. I mean, I try not to do rides. Right? That was the hardest part. Like when you're bootstrapping a company and you're long, it's like I can't do this ride. I got to let you do it because I built the company for you to drive.
Yeah.
And if I go do every ride, then you're never going to want to drive it.
Yeah.
Right. So then now you're taking income away.
Yeah.
To, for a year, I didn't get any driving money.
Wow.
So
it's hard to give that up, right?
It is when you depend on it. You know, and you're not getting paid. So it's like, what am I going to do here?
Well, I hope you're paying yourself out of the company.
Not back early in the days, I am now, but at the time, for the first couple of years, I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It was no money to pay me. It was like, hey, let's just build this thing and take money out of the bank if I have to.
Yeah.
But, the cool part now, looking back, is, we've done a little over $1.1 million in rides into a little over 2 years. And roughly $700,000 of that's gone back to local drivers.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic.
That's the part and they're the face of the company.
Right.
Like, we're nothing without our drivers. That's why it's so important to hire the best quality drivers, because they're the ones out there getting your luggage, showing up at 4 a.m, driving you safely to the airport through good, bad, ugly weather. So like that's why that's the most important piece. Like you got to have drivers that believe in what we're doing. They believe in the mission.
What does the future look like?
So we're raising $2 million.
$2 million. Okay.
Right now, we were going to do one, but everybody says get it while you can get it.
Probably good advice.
So we're doing $2 million. We've got 200 in the door the other day, 250 committed, and another 500.
What's the goal with the money? Like
basically to get to profitability. Originally, we were talking about getting to 20 campuses in 26.
Okay, I was wondering if what is the path to profitability? Is it more drivers? Is it more campuses? Is it?
Well, right now we realize it's going deeper. Right, we need to get deeper where we're at. We're barely touching the surface here, and we do. Last year we did.
Okay, hence the car dealership thing and the
more B2B. Another term, right?
Yep, B2B.
So it's we want to get deeper here. We did about 550 in rides, 550,000 in rides last year, and the majority of that was Notre Dame, probably 400,000.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we get deeper? We're barely touching the surface. And then how do we get the community around too? That's the next thing, right? It's not just for students.
Right.
For anybody in the Southern Elkhart area.
Right.
It's like, how do we make that present? That's why marketing, like this raise, marketing is the number one, most important hire.
Okay. Is that okay? So you're going to hire a marketing person out of this next raise or firm. Yeah.
So we got 200 in the other day. We got 250 signed, ready to come in soon here. And then they wrote an awesome investment memo.
Yeah.
Which is great to help close other deals. The 32-page investment memo that supports everything. So we got about 350 to 500 soft committed that we're hoping to wrap up here in the next couple weeks, and we're going to continue raising the last million. But that was the goal, right? We bring in Ryan full time. We need someone that just because we have an app developer in Tunisia.
Okay.
Who develops for us, and then we have Ryan full time as a CTO, because when you talk about apps, you know nothing about it. You got to have someone that makes all the buttons.
Yeah,
someone makes the buttons look pretty, but then somebody has to tie all those together.
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
This is what makes these work.
Yeah.
A lot more stuff than you ever think. I just say, hey, can we do this? It's like real quick, and they're like, well, that's going to be like you want to go 1,000 miles an hour in entrepreneurship, but like things go 1.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
It must be a wild feeling to be. Again, not even looking back to your 14-year-old self or whatever it is, but like you just casually said, "Oh, I have a software developer in Tunisia." Like hard to imagine maybe 20 years ago that you'd be just casually talking about how you hired a guy in Tunisia to do software development for you. But here you are.
Yeah, and then we say him and Ryan, and like I said, the marketing person's the big piece here, the public, right? We want to.
Do you have an idea of how you want to market? Like, is there a strategy?
We've done zero ad spend really on Google.
Yeah,
and we've just done a little bit of testing on Facebook.
Got it.
And Meta. So, like right now, if you were to Google rideshare Notre Dame, rideshare something, we're number 1. We're ahead of everybody.
Okay,
we never spent a dime with Google.
Okay,
we're number 3 at Purdue, but we're not on the map anywhere else. So, how do we, do the right Google spend?
Right.
I always say this all the time. Like we could be talking about coffee cups, and I'll get on social media later, and all I'm going to see is coffee cup ads.
Yes.
How do we get that right?
Yes.
With the right demographic, the right people that are using us.
Yeah.
So that to me is like, hey, that's how we take it up a level, and then the other part again, the profitability is we're I don't care about on demand. I remember I told you earlier on, I thought on demand we got heavy in reservation, like 95% of our rides.
Yeah.
And we started talking about, hey, well, let's look at our on demand. We did 1,100 rides in 2 years, and we only completed 53%. Well, why? Well, because they were all booked on busy time, and we were booked to reservation.
Got it.
So I won't give too much to it, but we got what's called loops coming out.
Okay.
We're going to get it's like on-demand loops, but it's running, for example, like here in Notre Dame, they're running on bar nights.
Got
subscription based.
Oh, so is it literally what it sounds like? Like you're just kind of...
We'll run it on busy weekends to and from the airport.
Yeah.
Purdue, we're going to run it down there with the grad students.
Yep.
Ann Arbor, we're going to run it to the airport on busy time.
Yep.
So basically, we can predict when it's busy.
Right.
So we can even do special events. Somebody wants a special event loop, we can close it, make it private. They can just jump, have like... Is
your software getting smarter over time because you're gaining knowledge and you're putting... Is Ryan putting that into it? Like, the busy times, the busy routes, where the demand is.
Right. And the key to that is he was talking to the drivers, right? Like, what drivers want to make them happy,
Yeah.
And I owe a lot to those guys. Like, our driver app's not fancy like Uber or Lyft. It's kind of crappy if you were to be honest compared to Uber or Lyft.
Yeah.
But like we don't have mapping. Like they're like, why do I need mapping? I know where I'm going here, and I use Waze when I go to Chicago. Like,
yeah.
But we were able to integrate those things into the driver app where they can use Waze and things. But
how many kids do you have?
3.
3 kids. All girls or girl?
No.
You mentioned daughters, so I know you have at least one.
One of my oldest will be 30 in January.
Okay.
And then my youngest daughter will be 26 in February. We just had twins.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah. And then my son's going to be 21 in April.
Okay. What do your kids think?
I don't really know.
Like, dad's crazy?
I mean, I don't know. I was actually just thinking about my son. We just had this conversation about his job yesterday, and I was like, maybe you should be an entrepreneur. Maybe we should start something. Like,
yeah.
My middle daughter's a stay-at-home mom, and then my oldest daughter works down in Florida.
Yeah. Still, I mean, you're illustrating a role that another person could follow.
Right.
I
mean, that's the goal. Is like I always tell investors, and like I'm trying to change my family's legacy. Right. Like I said, I've made mistakes. I've asked for forgiveness.
Yeah.
I've tried to learn from my mistakes. Personally and as a business.
Yeah.
And the goal personally is to be able to change my family's legacy at the end of the day. Right. I want to give my kids something better. I'm not trying to get buku rich and just run off.
Yeah.
But you can change your family's legacy. There's something you believe in. And that's the big thing about starting a company, right? If you can't don't just start a company, just start something like,
right.
Because you don't believe in it, and it's too hard.
100%. I mean, right, that sense of purpose or mission behind the entrepreneurial effort
so many times you could quit, man. Like it's,
mean,
like I said, when Elon talks about eating glass and just the abyss, I mean, it's tough because I don't want to sound like a crybaby, but yet it's
no. I imagine you've had days laying in bed thinking like, what I don't know what.
How are we gonna get drivers? How are we gonna launch here?
Right. Like, you're taking a lot of responsibility on your own shoulders too, with interviewing drivers and
right. All the guys at the fire department give me crap about like, oh, there's a millionaire, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I want to speak it into existence.
Yeah. Are you still working as a fireman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Currently, plans right now to retire in early 26.
Okay.
Once this raise is completed. But
it's a lot to balance a family and a full-time job.
They're a rich guy. Why don't you pay for this rich guy?
Yeah,
if you only knew.
Yeah.
Like the hours, like I work a lot at night because that's when our customers, like moms and dads are at work and they're in California. And at 9 o'clock our time, 10 o'clock it's like 6, 7 o'clock, and they're like blowing you up on the phone.
Jeez.
And then you're just handling all these problems. And I'm like we have this phone we use. This our customer texts in.
Okay.
That's what made that noise earlier.
I see.
And I have it on my breakthrough when my phone's a do not disturb. So like, super stressful. You got 3 or 4 a.m. rides.
Yeah.
Phones to beeping and people are freaking out for rides. And you always think, man, what if that's my kid, right? That's a mentality you want to have with your customers. Is like, hey, how do you want others as you want done to you, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I try to do is like, no matter if it's 2 or 3 in the morning, you're like, okay, let me see what we can do. So,
well, your grit really does come through in the conversation. I mean, clearly you've put heart and soul into this and you've been working hard to make it successful. And learning a lot as you go, right? You're throwing out these entrepreneurial terms like they're candy, like no big deal, right?
I didn't know anything before.
Yeah.
On the fire when I put wet stuff on the red stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, as we wrap up here, like, what else do we need to know? Like, there are a lot of folks out there who have an idea, and you had an idea and you turned it into an actual business. Like, do you have advice for those folks out there who are just kind of like, oh, I have this idea, I think it's a good idea, but I don't know what to do?
Yeah. Number one is like, don't give up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you got to like bet on yourself. Like that's the most important thing. If you have something and you're not happy with life or where, like, do I want to be a fireman forever? It's a great profession, but I don't want to do it forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then before I was a fireman, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
If you have an idea, you should chase it before somebody else comes up with it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I watched a ton of Shark Tank. We got to laugh at that. Like my wife hates
No, I mean,
I literally fall asleep to that every night at home.
What's his name is coming to the Rally Innovation Conference in September. Kevin O'Leary is going to be down there.
So I've watched just a ton of that, and and I'm just like, like you see some ideas you thought, man, I never thought of that. Like, but if you have something that you think it doesn't hurt to do anything, take it to you guys.
Yeah.
Take it and say, hey, and there's so many resources in South Bend, in Elkhart, like, you don't know about them.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to go there and like, hey, here's an idea I have. How do I formulate my idea?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
Well, I'm happy to hear you say that there are a lot of resources here because we work hard to put the resources out there.
But I think sometimes you don't know, right? It's like,
I
would have never heard about the Idea Center at the time if somebody would have told me.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the thing is getting your name out there to these people and say, hey, if you have an idea, bring it here. We'll help you. And just like give them the encouragement, like, hey, we can help you get this to where you want it to be. So,
yeah, I love the concept of betting on yourself. And that's not just for young people, for all of us, right?
Well, and I also follow, I can't think of the guy, School of Hard Knocks on TikTok, that guy who does all those. You seen him? He does all those.
Yes. I don't know his name either, but I know what you're talking about.
I watched those, and it's like you hear over and over and
School
over,
of Hard
bet on
Knocks.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
That dude, they got incredible stuff on there.
Yeah.
And it's just like bet on yourself, and if you don't do it, somebody else is gonna do it. And be your own boss, right? Like, I'm tired of going to fire department every day, to be honest. Where's you out? Last year I had a ton of terrible calls.
Oh,
that ended and in 2024, going this year, and it's like you see so much stuff. It's just at some point, some people do it their whole life, and great. To me, that's just not my whole life. So, fortunately, God gave me this opportunity. But,
you're building a whole potential new future here.
Right. I wanted to be my own boss, and like go to when we just moved into the offices over here at the Momentum Hub.
Yeah.
Chris Creamer, I'm giving you a shout out.
Yeah.
And
I'm looking forward to seeing you there because I'll be in there as well.
Like I get to wear, it's like casual day. Like, the other day I think I saw you, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. Like, it's kind of fun to be your own boss. And work, schedule, but there comes stress,
Yeah, exactly.
And lots of sleepless nights and wake up early. But I mean, it's kind of fun to like not have to someone tell you, hey, this is the dress code. Like I tell Ryan, we want to be the cool guys at the hub.
Right.
Right.
And if you want to take a day off, you can technically do it, although you're probably so busy that,
I work all kinds of crazy hours. And hey, look, if you need to go do something, like nobody says you have to be in the office.
Right. Yeah, that is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. And that is a motivating factor for a lot of entrepreneurs, actually. They're just tired of working for somebody else.
Right. Even if it's just starting your own company.
Yeah.
I know a guy that's going to build our shelves there that did the same thing and he's got a successful business. Like, just bet on yourself. Like, you can be your own boss or have somebody tell you what to do forever.
Yeah. That's awesome. What's your, I'm just going to close up here. Just kind of a more casual question or a personal question. Like, you've been driving around the region for years now. You probably know every nook, cranny, road, street, alley. What are a couple of your favorite places? Are there some hidden gems that you've discovered in all your rides that
I mean, like I never went on partied, so like I don't know. I mean, you still got the Pipe Places, Finney's, which I've never been to Finney's. I don't pick up. So people say, where do we go in South Bend, right? You go to Finney's, CJ's, Corby's, Ulf's, or
those
Linebacker.
Those are the big five, huh?
Personally, I've never really been to. I've been to Corby's a couple times. I've never been a big partier. Hey, I'm kind of excited about being downtown and getting to eat all the restaurants.
I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. Well, when we're in that same space. So, some cooler restaurants. You went to La Esperanza, right? So that's right across the street. Which one?
I was there last week too. It's pretty cool.
Last week, yeah.
I was there today and last week.
Okay, Chad. Thank you.
Right.
Great to hear you. Great to hear your story. Can't wait to hear your next successes. The 20, I mean, I don't know if you're sticking to that plan, like the 20 campuses,
right.
but...
I mean, that's still the plan to go deeper here in 26. Like I said, we're very close to profitability. We're profitable per ride.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting profitable overall. And
Got it.
We project that early 26. So
congratulations. I love these kind of stories because actually just the last guys were in here too were community award winners at McCloskey. The door blockade guys. So, scrappy local folks who are building companies right here in the region, and they're growing, and there's a lot of potential. And I love those stories almost more than anything else. So thank you for being that person.
Thanks for being a resource.
Yeah.